Hello and welcome to Raider HQ After Dark. I'm your host, Raider. And in this particular video, today seems to be a rant day, so I'm just going to rant things and we're going to rant together. Um, because I was watching Veterans Info Tap, a older video that caught my eye about how the American Legion had actually made recommendations for reforms to the VA claims process, right? And I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm going to give this organization a benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to read from their website what they decided as an advocate for veterans, what the main criteria is that we as veterans need to improve the claims process. And I looked at it and I skimmed through this sucker, and I'm going to tell you their reforms highlight the fact that VSOs have no functional understanding as to what the process is, what matters, what doesn't matter, and they just throw things out there that do not actually help the veteran community or make the process any less convoluted. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Now, I'm not upset at the American Legion. I think that it's good. But I also think that, if you have a platform and you want to actually um, advocate for veterans, I've got one for you. Here's the one that I would have expected to see. Request and demand that the VA 100% of the time requires a long form narrative to allow the veterans in every single denial to know the evidence for and against in a detailed way that allows them to navigate the complex supplemental claim process in order to determine how best to format their supplemental claim because they don't get access to any of their records. That should be the first thing that VSOs such as the American Legion are fighting for you to make the VA do. Make every single raider do a long form narrative. That right there, that one intervention, that single intervention would be the most powerful thing that any advocacy group could do on our behalf as veterans in order to shed some light in the darkness of the claims process. That's my hope. That's what a competent advocate that knows the process, that would be the glaring thing that needs to be above anything else addressed immediately. That right there. Now, are we going to see that in this? No, we're not going to see that in this. We're going to see word salad. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. This is it. Veterans, this is the thing. I guess they sat at that meeting and they provided some reforms that would make the process much better. Right? And, we can skim this. We can talk about this. I don't care. When we go down here, we're going to go to this human being's name that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce with their title, I guess, offered 3 recommendations to make the VA's complex claim system more veteran friendly. Do you know what would make it more veteran friendly, American Legion? Long form narratives every time. That would make it more veteran friendly because then the veteran is competently informed as to why they were denied. It would be made in such a way, right? The rating decision would be that they could take it to any VSO, any accredited claims agent, and they should be able to discern the factual reason why you were not granted. So that way you can format a sufficient and competent rebuttal to that in a supplemental claim. I'm going to keep saying this. This is what's needed. Let's see what they got. Simplify the instructions on forms. Fantastic. Okay, so they're going to make it easier for you to file a supplemental claim that you have no functional understanding as to why you were denied. And that way it can be future denied. So that way the VA itself can claim next year that they got 6 million claims because veterans keep getting denied for things that sometimes they shouldn't be. So simplifying instructions on forms. Cool. This is not something I would take to Congress. This is not something I would brag about. Simplifying instructions on VA forms. Dumb it down. Okay. I mean, cool. There's a use case for that, I guess, in the Terra information. There's a use case for that for like maybe identifying the theory that you're going to be applying to it. This is helpful. But is this I leverage the power of the American Legion helpful? No. Does it move the mark on anyone getting their claim granted? Probably not. Is it a waste of resources? Like, if you want to talk about a cost benefit analysis, what's the most bang for your buck? Is this the most bang for your buck to make meaningful change for the veteran community? Who is saying what major outcry have you heard that the instructions on the forms are too complex? I mean, maybe in passing, but it's not something that like somebody will flip a desk over. Okay. So that's the first one. The second one is amend DBQs to streamline processing and allow for additional details as needed. So we're going to make changes to the DBQs. Why? What changes? I mean, like it probably says it down here. I'm not going to read it, but it doesn't make like I can think of one use case where making some determination, well, two use cases, amending the DBQs to streamline processing. So what does that mean? Giving more information to the rater? Like the more, but did they ask any raters what information they would want to see? Or are they just giving more boxes for people to write meaningless things that don't matter related to your claim? Right? The 38 CFR Part 4 has a very specific and narrow determination as to what matters whenever what's 10%, what's 20%, what's 30%. What are you going to put on there? Like, I have some recommendations. Did you ask any raters? No, you did not. You're just going to, whatever makes sense to you, American Legion, not what makes sense for rating the claim and making the process better. No. Like the foot, other foot conditions is rated under mild, moderate, and severe. At no point in time in the 38 CFR Part 4 nor in the M21 1 does mild, moderate, or severe ever get defined. Same thing with Parkinson's disease. When you're rating like bradykinesia for the upper and lower extremities, it doesn't detail what mild, moderate, or severe even looks like. Now, the M21 itself does talk about neurological conditions and what mild, moderate, and severe looks like, but there's no like objective reporting for the rater to be able to corroborate it, right? It just says check a box. They don't even have to discuss anything, which is fine. I mean, it's that one's more in the veterans' favor. But this right here, DBQs are not the problem themselves. Like what DBQ? Migraines, box 4A, 4B on the migraine DBQ. That's it. That's all we care about. What specific? Where are the complaints coming from for this to amend these DBQs? I I don't know. Like I have a good time reading them. I mean, the only one like an argument could be made for make the VHA DBQs in medical opinions mirror the vendor DBQs because they use a different program. So the VHA uses a kind of a DOS program, CPRS, I want to say. They use CPRS, which is different. Its format's different, it's harder to read, it's all that stuff. But the VA is already in the process of making them the same, like the vendors, making the VHA ones like the vendors. So this right here, the one use case that I would say that I like we could amend that, it's already being done. So this to me, sure. And then all VA vendors should use a single, easily recognizable caller ID for veterans. That's it, guys. That's what got pushed forward. Not the fact that every single veteran should get a long form narrative rating decision with their denial, no matter what it is. Long form narrative. Every single piece of evidence is accounted for. Every single piece of VA evidence is discussed and weighed specifically and individually as to whether its probative value. I don't get this, guys. It's like our advocates don't even know what the heck's going on and what we need. They are not asking anybody that has any kind of experience in the process to say what would actually benefit the veterans. Would all three of these benefit the veterans? Well, it might benefit one or two or some veterans in a very niche situation. Like, let's say that you've got a cognitive disorder where your cognitive processing is not well. Okay, well that would help you right here. Simply simplify the instructions on the VA forms, or you can go to a VSO and have them fill it out. Huh, that solves that problem. Amend the DBQs to streamline the process. Okay, fair enough. I guess that, like, what I've never come across a DBQ that I have trouble with reading, understanding. I had some trouble with the VHA ones, but just it's an annoyance. It's not like, oh, can't do my job today. Johnny doesn't get rated because I can't understand the DBQ. It's not streamlined enough for me. What? We're processing claims faster than we've ever processed them before. I do not understand streamlining everything. Not everything needs to be streamlined. Okay, let's just say that up front. Not everything needs to be streamlined. This is not the barrier. These are not barriers. The caller ID is not the barrier. The barrier is the VA will not give me my STRs. That's a barrier. Let's talk about that barrier for a minute. Let's talk about giving veterans a portal to where they can see their own STRs. That seems like an advocacy type thing that should be done. Let's also see about like maybe giving long form narratives. These are two things right here that if the American Legion got behind these two things, they'd be a freaking hero. I mean, I would be clapping if they could make that happen. This is not hard. All Doug has to do, all Papa Bear has to do is say long form narratives from here on out. That's it. That man snaps his fingers, it goes into effect. He can write an MOU or an SOP. He can write it whatever. He can do an official mandate. Long form narratives from now on. Every single claim gets a long form narrative. No exceptions. Okay. Advocate for it. He's not going to do it because guess who also doesn't know what's going on with the claims process? Doug Collins doesn't even know what's going on with the claims process. Nobody knows what's going on with the claims process. Our advocates don't know. Nobody has a functional understanding of this, and they don't care to ask. That's the part that gets me. That's why, like, whenever, people are like the American Legion or, the DAV or whomever, it's like, I mean, their heart's in it, but, God bless them. When somebody says, God bless you, God bless Timmy, like they're going to say something bad. God bless the VSOs. And I'm not hating on VSOs or anything like that. I'm just like, look, if you're going to do it right. Make the most good. You want to fix a problem? These are inconveniences. This is not a problem. This is not, I have been denied 8 times and I can't figure out why and nobody else can. Because they used the short form narrative and they didn't tell me anything. They gave me 2 favorable findings, but they didn't tell me what was or was not used in my claims process. And guess what that does? That allows for the wild misinterpretation of why you were denied. That allows people to say things about the claims process that aren't true because they're like, well, you got denied because of this. There's no way to fact check it because nobody actually wrote why you were denied. They didn't actually provide the long form narrative reason why you were denied. You can't, if they say, well, you didn't have this in your STRs. Why should we have to wait over a year for FOIA in order to get our STRs so that way we can have access to it? Or how about this? Why can't public contact give us our records that are at the VA? Release those. Make that a thing that we can go there, show our ID, get our STRs on a disc. Cool. Like we should be able to do that. That's the advocacy that I want to see. That would help the most veterans. Somebody's been denied for something, and I think it's a lot more people. Like, I think a lot more people have no clue why they were denied versus they have an issue with the caller ID from the vendors. I think I'm raising a concern that can be generalized to nearly every single veteran. And I don't get it. So guys, hey, Here's what I want you to do. If you made it to 15 minutes in this video, spread this video. If anything, spread this video to the American Legion. Give them this video. Help them. We need to help our advocates understand what's wrong. We need to help our advocates understand that there is a cost benefit analysis that they're doing backwards. They're doing the most amount of pushing for the least amount of, effort or reward in this case. But yeah, so I was just, like I said, I was watching Veterans Info Tap on this, and I got there, and then we talk about transparency, hold hearings. Oh gosh, I missed this too, so I just got on those. So the American Legion offered 3 recommendations to improve transparency. Oh my God, transparency. Hold a hearing on MDEOs. So MDEO is the go-between. So this organization is the go-between between the examiners and the VA. So they kind of dictate policy on how the examinations are done. And if we have a problem with how certain, like vendors do things, then we go to MDEO. It's one of the things that I have in the past threatened examiners to. You will give me, like, I need you to do this. And they're like, I'm not doing this. This is an invalid rework request. And I'm like, do I need to get MDEO involved? And they're like, okay, I'll do it. Like it's one of those passive aggressive threats that you put into your deferral to make them do the right thing. Okay, so this is just like, sure, this has nothing to do with the process. This has to do with just transparency of something or another. Standardized production quotas for BBA veteran service representatives and ensure that reasonable work credit is given to them for deferred claims. That's true. We're given, okay, look, this right here is not true. They are barking up the wrong tree. I can get my points in 3 hours out of a 10-hour day if I was hustling, depending on the thing. You get more points. So like, okay, so let me try to think about this. If I've got the point system here, you get 0.25 points for deferring something back. Well, if you order the exam, if it's related to an exam, then you get 0.76 points for ordering the exam. So if you have a competent rater who both orders the exam and does the deferral, they'll get 1.01 points for that transaction. Now, if they're doing a partial rating in which they're rating some of the things and they're getting points for that, the points for deferring back and doing the exam are additional points. I can, like, that 1.01 points for somebody that's on production for over 25 months. I want to say, I'm just going to guess here because I don't even care about my points, but it's like for a 10-hour day, it's like you need 10 points, 11 points. I'm just going to guess 11 points for doing like 110% of your quota. So if you do like a claim that's worth 3 points and you get an additional 1.101 points, that's 4 points for doing one claim that can take you an hour and 20 minutes. So you're already 1/3 of the way done with your day in an hour and 20 minutes, mostly because you got the bonus points for doing the deferral and the exam request. So no, like only 10%, like less than 10% of the Raider and VSR population don't make their points, and it's stupid. Now, the points are standardized. These are standardized already. I don't understand what they're talking about. These are standardized. I'll give you guys a chart on it at some point in time. I didn't pull it up because I didn't read this because it was stupid. Impose statutory penalties on vendors who exams fail to complete examinations. No, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. This can have a chilling effect. This can have a chilling effect on vendors who, if they don't know or they're on the fence, they'll say no. It's easier for them to say no. It's easier for them to deny. If you give them a penalty for wanting to go out on a limb for the veteran, they will play it safe and deny them. They will play it safe. This will have a chilling effect on the vendors. because we can't question why they said no. Raters cannot question why an examiner said no. It's within their medical purview to say no. They just have to provide evidence of it. You're going to make them say no more than they say yes because it's safer to say no. Because the default is no. They have to prove yes, which is harder. So if you're going to give them penalties for not adequately proving things, then you're going to make them want to say no more. American Legion, not swearing. Foxtrot, know what you're talking about before you make suggestions. Think it out. Think it out before you make suggestions. This will have a chilling effect on examiners. It will also make the raters hammers and 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 the examination nails. Because you will, if this goes through, it will make the raters want to question things. It will make the raters want to ding them. Think about the things that you say before you say them on this kind of stuff. This is bad. This is not a good thing. This is naivety incarnate as to how this will play out. No examiner will want to put their neck out there. This is insanity. American Legion, stop it. Stop suggesting things that you don't understand what would happen if you do this. You think the vendors will just happily take an error and walk themselves out the door to unemployment? No, they won't. They'll adapt to this. They will not, like, it's like a beaten dog will they you know, you give the Raiders the authority to cause them to have disciplinary actions taken against them. And the Raiders are idiots half the time. Sometimes I don't get things right. I'm a human being. But you're going to give the Raider, who might not be paying full attention, the ability to cause penalties to vendors and subsequently their staff. So I understand that they're talking about vendors themselves, but that has a trickle down effect to where they have to be right. And the only way they can be right is by saying no. Nobody can disagree with them if they say no. They can disagree with them if they say yes and the evidence doesn't match up and all this other stuff and they say yes and element 2 isn't fully satisfied. Safer to say no. This will not turn out the way you think it will, American Legion. This is bad. Who did you ask before you submitted this? Guys, we're at the 23-minute mark. Share this with the American Legion. Just honest to God, share it with the American Legion. Like, why do I think that this would happen? Well, why do I think it'll happen this way? Because it happens this way within the VA. The behaviors of the VSR and the QRT are dictated by the punishments of QRT. They take actions out of fear, not out of actual, like, doing the right thing. That's how the VA. So now the American Legion wants the vendors to behave the same way the VA behaves, in that they take actions out of fear. And those actions are safe, and safe typically equals not granting. Think about this, guys. Share this with whomever. Share it with the VA, share it with whatever, share it with the American Legion, the DAV, but stop making suggestions like this. I mean, I was watching the info tap and I was just like, I was hopeful, and then it hit me how I can tell that they don't know what they're talking about is with this stuff right here. This is the most damaging thing that they could suggest to anyone or anything. And all the people that want to take our benefits away would grab onto this in a heartbeat and go, yeah, we'll install this. This sounds like a great idea. And this statement, failed to complete examinations to VA standards. That's an impossibility because of the subjective gray area of the rater's ability to defer things back based upon their interpretation versus the examiner's interpretation of the VA standards. So it's going to be a hot mess. It's going to be deferral palooza. This gives the Raiders carte blanche to just do whatever they want. Defer it back. Get the 1.01 points. Defer it back because I don't want to. I am out of fear, and I know that you will do what I say because you're out of fear too. Everybody's just doing things out of fear. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. So yeah, so anyway, so that's all I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about today in terms of like ranting. I'm probably gonna have another rant video because um, I need to talk about how the Washington Post investigative journalism, and this is my opinion, and I believe it 100%. I have 100% belief in this, is that the way that they conduct their investigative journalism is via object permanence, like a baby. So if they can't see it, it doesn't exist. It's like peekaboo with a baby. Like you just disappear. So the only disabilities that matter to them are the ones that they can see. So yeah, I'm probably going to do something like that today. But anyway, guys, that's about all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. If you got to the end, listening until you got to the end, and like and subscribe to the video if you haven't already done so. Also, tick the notification bell so that way you can be at the forefront of my rants, well, and my other stuff. So take this time and maybe talk about some of the other things I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a video on chronic fatigue soon. In the next couple days, I'm going to be doing how to fill out forms to where you don't have to have the VA make the forms simpler. I'll make them simple for you and tell you how to fill out the forms and what each section means to the rater. So yay. And I'm going to be doing that with the 526EZ. I'm going to be doing that with the 0995. I'm also going to be doing that with the 0996 higher level review form. And I'm also going to give you guys a TMS training on the 0996 form and higher level reviews and how the VA is training the DROs in what is responsibility for everybody involved. So it'll be great. We're going to have fun with that one. So this has been an investigative report from the always professional Raider. Anyway, that's about all I got for you guys today. Raider out.